Good job. Call meeting order. Please rise. Ask you to join me in a moment of reflection about the business that's before us this evening. Please join me in a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Alderman Basso.
Here.
Alderman Begley.
Here.
Alderman Violet.
Here.
Alderman Key. Alderman Clifford.
Here.
Alderman Lewandowski.
Here.
Alderman McGrogan.
Here.
Alderman McGovern.
Here.
Mayor, City Clerk, Treasurer, and Attorney are all present.
All right, no special presentations tonight that I'm aware of. Under the consent calendar, we've got two items: the approval of the City Council meeting from September 21st, 2021, along with the approval of the payroll and voucher list for the period ending October 1st, 2021. I need a motion to approve these.
So moved.
Moved by Alderman
Second.
Rogan, seconded by Alderman Violet. Discussion. Roll call.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman Clifford.
Here.
Alderman McGovern.
Yes.
Alderman Begley.
Yes.
Aye.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Alderman Basso.
Aye.
Alderman Lewandowski.
Aye.
Okay.
Motion carries.
All right, no sealed bids tonight under city officials. My report. The only thing I have initially is the next meeting will be the Mayor for a Day meeting. We, after a year hiatus because of COVID, and the Women's Club has initiated the Mayor for a Day program again. So if you remember, that constitutes individual 8th graders from various grammar schools writing writing essays as far as what they would do if they were mayor for a day, which usually comes down to sidewalks and streetlights, and go from there. But then they come here and we have a mock meeting before our initial regular meeting, and it's a good time for kids to learn about government. Both my kids actually happened to go through that a number of years ago, a long time ago actually. Yeah. And but I think it's a good program. So we're going to start that, and that will be the next meeting, 2 weeks from tonight. So, all right. Next thing is the city has declared a portion of the alley right-of-way as unused property, and is in the best interest of the city to vacate the right-of-way and to sell it to adjacent property owners that we've done in the past. I move, therefore, to authorize the city engineer to prepare a plat of vacation for the alley right-of-way immediately north and adjacent to 12258 South 75th Avenue. Will someone make the motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Alderman McGovern, second by Alderman Clifford. Roll call.
Alderman Basso.
Aye.
Alderman Lewandowski.
Aye.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Alderman Begley.
Yes.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman McGovern.
Yeah. Aye.
Then I need a motion to authorize the city attorney to draft an ordinance for the vacation in city of the right-of-way at 12258 South 75th Avenue.
And I'll make that motion
Moved
also.
by Alderman McGovern, second by Alderman Clifford. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, and that's the end of my report. City clerk?
No report this evening.
City treasurer, anything?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No report tonight.
City attorney?
Thank you, but no report.
Any communication anyone have tonight?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, the only thing I have to turn around and talk about again tonight is that sewer project that is coming through Palos Pines. Now, this has been going on way too long. I got a message last week about the basketball court, where they said it's going to take 30 days for the asphalt to cure before they can paint it. Now, the asphalt that they put over on Harlem Avenue from 167th Street to 111th Street, I didn't see a 30-day wait for that to cure for cars to come by it. We're only talking about half a dozen kids playing basketball on it. The poles aren't up. It's not painted. The soccer field's not up. The baseball field finally turned around and got taken care of. They came in with 11 truckloads of dirt and turned around and laid that down. I cannot understand. And now, oh, by the way, 131st Street and 76th Avenue is still waiting for some electrician to turn around and put in some wiring so they can put the cement corner in so the Tinley Park Trail can continue on down to the Cal-Sag. A little piece of property that's probably no longer than one of these tables. And they can't turn around and they can't get their act together. They're not getting their act together. This is the most mismanaged thing I have ever seen. They're working down at the river. They're working out on 139th Street. And they can't, and they just don't know what they're doing. Okay. I'm just getting, I told you a month ago I was disgusted with this group, and I'm going to reiterate again, it's the most mismanaged company I've ever seen.
I agree with you. As you know, it's not our project to control, so.
That's not our project. That's another part. They're just taking their darn time coming through here.
I agree, so. I'm sure you're
On that note, I was at the Butterfly Fest, and a gentleman over there who was over by the baseball field in the park there.
Yeah.
He asked about the feasibility, and I didn't know because that company's doing it, correct, or restoration of it and everything. There would be the possibility of putting down some instant gratification of sod by the fields there for the kids rather than that netting with the thing in there. And I don't know if that, and I understand that according to our public works director, it'll probably be more or less the netting and hay to germinate in there rather than sod.
This is an oak lawn project, so I
But
can't tell you.
that comes up under that company that
Right.
Alderman McGovern's talking
Right.
about.
But Jack, at the same time, that baseball field had crevices in so wide, I could put my son's kayak in those crevices. Now, I'm not talking about a little thing like that. I'm talking about something as wide as both of these tables together, and probably, I think I lost count at about 30 of them when we were looking at the baseball field. Now, they initially turned around and said they had to do some kind of a study in there to turn around and figure out what the problem was. And then the next thing you know, they're dumping 11 truckloads worth of dirt in there, and in 2 hours later, they're putting the sod down, and they're gone. And they haven't been back yet.
Well, and I know Adam, our public works director, has been on them. It's just,
Oh, I know
but
he
again,
has
it's
too.
not our. He's got some limited ability to control it at all.
I got to compliment Adam like crazy because he's been listening to me. He's been listening to me complain for 3 months.
Yeah, so we'll just
And
keep
so have
on
you.
it. So.
Mayor, Bob?
Yeah.
Couldn't you bring the concerns that Alderman McGovern pointed out to the Southwest Conference of Mayors? Maybe you guys collectively could
Well,
put a little
it's not
pressure on it?
it's not the conference.
You couldn't say to
I mean,
Oakland, get your act
I can
together?
make a phone call to the mayor of Oak Lawn, see if they can do
Yeah.
something there. That's about all he can do. So go that way. Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
but how many times have you done that already?
Yeah.
I just have one other communication.
Sure.
I talked to you earlier about it. It's about street safety and that. I got a phone call from Mrs. Went, and she had a concern of down by Trinity High School. I guess recently there was an accident of a student turning in across the median there on the east side of the school and got hit. One was, she was asking about the speed on Route 83, and I explained to her that's an IDOT regulation and that, but I would address it to our city engineer. The second thing was about possibly talking to the school on that entrance for exit only and not entrance only, and that talking to IDOT about designating with some type of signage as a school safety zone. As the trucks come through there to slow it down while they're coming through with the students going in and the school buses, if that's feasible at all.
Yeah.
And we could
Yeah.
ask our public works director.
Yeah, we'll
to-
follow up on that. There's our conversation.
And I
was
discussed
today.
that with you in
Right.
your agreement, so
Yeah.
I just think it'd be a plus if they look at that and generally, and it is a school. There's a few other schools that maybe should be addressed at there, being school buses and kids. And you got the crossing there, the bike
Right.
path too, so.
Yeah. Okay,
Thank you.
Great. Any other communications? All right. Citizens wishing to address the council? Right there. Name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Ann Gerzatis. I live at 12243 South Nagle in Palos Heights. I am just very briefly wanting to thank the city for putting in the cement pad for the bike rack at Lake Catherine. I am a huge bike rider, and I called the rec department today, and there's many like me. In September, almost over 10,000 bike riders entered the Lake Catherine area from the west, and almost 13,000 entered from the east. In 2021, just shy of 80,000 bike riders entered from the west, and over 94,000 entered from the east. And since 2016, there's been over 1 million bike riders who have come to Lake Catherine, which is huge numbers. Now, obviously, not all of them are City of Palos Heights residents, but many are. And right now, there's a bike rack in the middle, the addition of a bike rack on the west side, which, believe it or not, lots of people congregate there to see the swans, to enter the children's play area by the, the old school arch. There's many that come. There's tons of parking availability along the street. I know that the Buzz and Bloom Prairie might be ripped up part of it for additional parking. I know that there's signs encouraging people to park behind the office buildings and the medical buildings during the weekends for additional parking. I know sometimes, especially during the Monarch Festival, there's additional parking here at City Hall. There's lots of cars, availability for cars, and more is being made. I'm not the only bike rider who would like to be able to, park my bike, and the addition of additional space is definitely wanted and needed.
Okay.
So I thank you for listening to me. I know that other people, there's been other voices being heard, in this debate. In fact, I did send some emails, and one of the responses that I did get are that residents are stakeholders. They deserve more consideration than it's the right thing to do. I guess who is the resident and who is being heard? Okay. It is the right thing to do for the 1 million+ people who do ride their bike through Lake Catherine. And thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Sir?
Thank you.
Good evening.
Sure.
My name is Michael Higgins. I live at 6209 Princeton Lane in the Hamptons. I have a question I'd like to ask, or maybe a couple of questions. One of them is Alderman Clifford had made reference to the speed limit on 83. I would like to know who is in charge of setting the speed limits.
On 83?
Yes, sir.
State of Illinois.
State of Illinois. And what process can I get involved with to have that 45-mile-an-hour speed limit reduced?
District 1 engineer.
Yeah, the District 1 engineer would be the one to contact first.
Who would it be, sir?
The District 1, State of Illinois,
Schaumburg.
out of Schaumburg, that's where they're out.
Okay.
District 1 is the area we're in.
All right. Why is there such a vast difference in speed on 83?
Sir, we don't control that at all. So, a lot has to do with truck traffic, but I can't give you an educated guess as to why they change it, so.
Well, 45 miles an hour is dangerous, especially by the high school. If you go from Southwest Highway and 83 to Harlem, which goes right by City Hall, and
Right,
all right, it's 35.
right. Yeah.
Okay? It picks up and goes 45 by the high school, where there's a lot of kids coming out, and by the college, a lot of traffic. It's at 45.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we talked about earlier, so we're gonna address it ourselves too, so.
Oh, okay. All right. Because it's 45 miles an hour. I live in the Hamptons.
Sure.
Okay, and I live on the corner. And it's 45 miles an hour. And Mayor, they don't go 45 miles an hour.
I
You know, they
appreciate
exceed that.
Yeah.
And I will offer my driveway to the police department. They can sit there and put their radar on at one end, and at the other end, they can have another police car stop it, and our taxes will be taken care of.
Okay.
Because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And the trucks that go down there are exceeding the speed limit. Those big trucks,
Yeah.
you can feel movement in my home.
Yeah, we'll have a conversation with District 1.
Okay, and what do you think the possibility of that being changed?
Well, time-wise, I wouldn't think it's going to be fast to deal with the state of Illinois in anything, okay?
Okay.
There's a possibility that we could make some, headway with the reduction, though.
Okay, I have a friend who was a police chief in Lyons, and he had Ogden Avenue, State Street, okay? And he contacted them, and they told him that it's the city that regulates the speed limit.
And that's not true.
And so he changed it, they changed it in Lyons without going through the state. So I'm either getting bad information from them, or maybe you guys don't have the proper information. I don't know which one.
Well, we have the proper information.
Attaboy. All right, that's the right answer, right? Okay, so when do you think you'll be addressing this issue?
Next couple days, actually, I'm going to start.
Okay, all right, thank you for your time.
Sure.
I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Mr. Higgins.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anyone else?
That's the district wants to.
Oh, great, thank you.
All right.
Hi.
All right. Okay, Finance Committee, Alderman McGrogan?
There's no report, Mayor, other than the city is in fine financial shape. We were lucky this evening we didn't have to go through the treasury report, but believe me, the city is still in good shape.
All right,
That's
thanks,
the end of my
sir.
report.
Public Safety, Alderman Basso?
Yes, Mayor, I have one item on the agenda this evening. Public safety, at our last meeting, we had a presentation. We have a motion for a discussion and possible motion to approve an application for the Flock Safety License Plate Readers Grant. And at this time, I would like to turn the microphone over to Sergeant John Parnitsky, who gave the presentation at the Safety Committee, and he'll inform the other aldermen on what this program is, what the grant is. John.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, everyone. Let me just pull this up. So I have a small, very brief slideshow here that I'd like to show you guys. It's had to be amended, so it'll be on all the televisions. Good evening, my name is John Parnitsky. For those that I haven't met formally, I am the Detective Sergeant with Palos Heights Police. Originally, what I wanted to do is present to you tonight a grant opportunity that we had. Unfortunately, this morning when looking at that grant, it had actually closed, so they were no longer accepting applications at this time. That being said, I still felt it would be important maybe to let you guys know what the program is. As other grants make themselves available, I will be looking into them. So I wanted to present what my idea is, or the idea is, and then if you guys would entertain that, and then once we find a funding source, move forward with that. So what this grant, what I was going to use it for, it was going to be through the Bureau of Justice. It was at the time going to allow us up to $150,000 for these cameras. These cameras are called fixed license plate readers. They're fixed LPRs. I'll refer to them as LPRs. What they are mounted on different places in the city, and I'll show you what those look like in a little bit. But what they do is they collect license plate and vehicle information. They're not live cameras, so they're not monitoring traffic or moving that. What they're doing is taking pictures of licenses and vehicles as they pass the camera. They operate 2 lanes in whatever direction they're going in, and they're used for investigative purposes that I will explain as we go here. So unfortunately, it's closed as the moment, but this is kind of what they are. These are these Flock cameras. Flock is a company. I don't believe it's an acronym, but this is a specific company that we were looking into. The nice thing about Flock is they partner with private homeowners associations. It's not just police. Different places can have these cameras installed, and the nice thing is there is a large network of these cameras that share information. We're going to go over some of the towns that have them already that we're able to look at. So presently we have the ability to review these cameras that are mounted in other towns. And the nice part is we can use that stuff for present investigations as they stand. The cameras, they're affordable, they're small. The cost is $2,500 per camera, and there's a small installation fee. But what you're doing is renting them from Flock. So if ever there was something damaged or something goes wrong with them, Flock comes out and maintains them. They're either powered by solar or an electrical source that is maintained there. And what they do, and what's nice about Flock, different than other cameras, is they don't just capture license plates, which I'll show you later. They capture the vehicle and makes and models in case we have an incident where we don't have the plate. These are the towns that presently have them now, and there's many more that are coming on board with them. Oak Forest is getting them, a few other local municipalities. But we have access to these cameras now, and we've used them for many investigations. So this is what the cameras would look like. So I know obviously that would be a big question, is what is the footprint, or what do they look like on the roadway? So you can affix them to poles that already exist. They do have the ability to be mounted on their own pole, and they have solar and electric like I mentioned before. So the big purpose of these is this, is when we have crimes in our town, we want to investigate them in the most efficient manner. When we use our time the best, then we can use all our other allotted time for more, different projects where we're not spending time trying to locate vehicles and working with other towns to try and find these crimes in more archaic ways. This is this is going to be the new standard of how things are done. Prosecutions now in our state's attorney's office, the new thing is we're always asked, do you have video? Is there a picture of this car? Is there proof that this person is? Every crime now we need phone records and things to show people staying there. These cameras are used as building that case purpose. So when cars come into town or leave town and we know a path that they're leaving or coming in on, we can look at these cameras to capture that and build our mountain of evidence, if you will. So these are some of those crimes, these violent crimes that we've had initially, that over the past few years, that with these cameras affixed on certain points in the town, we would have been able to bolster the case a little bit more and possibly bring charges on those that we weren't able to. Just a few, in the last few weeks alone, this is a handful of cases that we had. We had an illegal dumping case where that top picture came from one of the cameras affixed to the business. Now this is a very unique vehicle with aftermarket rims. So we were able to put in that type of vehicle, that make and the color, and get the actual vehicle from these Flock cameras in a different town. Another one was a hit and run that we had at College Drive in Ridgeland. Again, that top picture is from the gas station. Now you have a very unique car with a rim it was a donut, like a repair rim, a spare. Now using these Flock cameras, we were able to locate that same vehicle within the same day and have the case closed with this person charged. And most recently we had a commercial burglary at the Power Mart. Now this is the video, or a still from the video of that. Now that is a very unique vehicle. We were able to see that vehicle was in a neighboring community just a few hours after that, and we were able to build a case with neighboring towns, and these cameras are used for this thing. This is what we're trying to do with this. Now, initially I was going to present, these were the spots in the town that would kind of, in essence, bring a framework of where we would have like a gate. These would be cameras that would capture any entrance or exit to town. It's kind of how other towns deploy their cameras. Now this is at its greatest scope of having the city, any entrance and exit point coming in. Now it would be 17 cameras affixed in different locations. Now something to that size, again, with these cameras and their costs and their installation, this is something that would, hover right around $50,000 for the installation. Now, with each camera, their initial implementation, and this search feature. So, a big thing we have to talk about is its security too. These flock cameras, all the data they collect is cloud-based and it's fully encrypted. We own that information in those pictures. They're automatically deleted after 30 days. It's a continuously rotating 30 days. Flock itself does not share this information with any outside entity, and it's not sold for any purposes. Another thing that's nice is any resident that would have concerns with this or wouldn't like that, they have the ability to put their vehicles on what's called a safe list, where it wouldn't be captured coming in and out or using the cameras. So it is nice for that. Unfortunately, I was hoping that this would be to discuss the actual grant that we had in hand. Like I said, that one is closed right now. But I do want to just present the idea of these cameras and kind of gauge the interest with that, because there are going to be more grants. I'm going to research this, and it might change in the amount of cameras and the locations and fix the best parts, but this is kind of the idea of what it is. And with that, I thank you.
John, I got a couple questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you made a presentation there talking about the license plate or the car itself in general.
Yeah.
Now, you could look up, for example, a two-door Mustang, gray, but like you said, maybe it had oversized tires and things like that, but you couldn't get the license plate. So with this kind of a setup, you could run it through to see where it was last seen, if it left the town or not, which helps you a ton, correct?
Correct.
Now, my follow-up question to that is, say you do end up making an arrest out of that, and what you asked about was, one of the other questions you brought up was the fact that they hold on to the tapes for 30 days. There is a save mechanism on that also, where if you need it for past 30 days?
Yeah, so if it came to be where it was a camera that we had that was affixed that captured a plate that we used for a case, I have the ability for those ones that you saw there to download that data, that it's then
That's
memorialized
right.
and saved
Okay.
forever.
All right.
It's just, the idea is that your plates that are being ran in these towns already, they're being deleted on a continuous basis unless a law enforcement officer had to save one for an investigative
That's what I'm
purpose.
talking about.
Yep.
Okay. My next question was, when you made the presentation to us at the public safety, you would tell, it was before you found out that the grant was dead or temporarily stopped.
Sure.
Let's put it that way. You said initially this was going to be 2 years for free, minus, but we would have to pay for the installation.
No, so my initial.
Wasn't that what the way?
Yeah, ideally, so the grant was going to be a 2-year grant, and what I had factored in was the cost of 2 years of camera, so 17 cameras at $2,500 times 2 years, plus that installation cost would have been included, and that advanced search feature where we use. So in its best light, there would have been no cost to the city. It would have all been covered to the grant, because that was going to be well under that $150,000. That would have included the installation and everything. There would have been no out-of-pocket for that 2 years. I presented 2 years because that was the length of the grant.
The grant. And then the other part you put in there was after the grant was done, you could delete cameras off of it as you wish, like. Were
Right,
never
so
used.
if we were able to get that
Starting with
grant.
17, you can knock it down to 10, 12.
Yeah,
5,
so the
4.
nice part about Flock as well, and that was one of my concerns, is, hey, some of the times you get these 17 cameras in, and then after the grants, no more funding's coming in, we're stuck with these cameras. Well, the nice thing with Flock is there is no, you're not stuck with them ever. If you said on year 3, hey, Flock, I can only afford 2, no problem, we come in, take the remaining 15 out, and maintain the 2 that you're using, But
Okay.
yeah, so there's no gotchas or anything of that sort.
Thank you.
Mayor, I have 3 questions, I think.
Yeah.
Hi, John.
Hi.
It sounds like the very end there, we don't actually buy them. It's like the 150,000 that's like an upfront fee, they give you the material, but then is this like a long-term lease, or do we own them? And if we own them, who maintains them, and who decides where they go?
So the 150,000 was the most that grant would have allowed you to use. The cost of the cameras as we had for the 2 years was about 91,000, I believe. So my understanding with FLAC is, look at it as almost like a lease. It's their cameras, their poles, they're maintaining everything. Every camera you're paying, in essence, they all have air cards in them that give them internet to connect, to give the license plate data back, and these things. If if they're damaged, or if their camera lens is off or something, FLOC maintains them. So we wouldn't have to have Public Works come out or do anything like that. They're their cameras. So we're paying for the camera for that year. That cost is for that annual cost.
Did they say how long they, usually the lease term, do they give it to you for 10 years or 10 months? I mean, because the longer you could lock in, like you said, it's going to be a wave of the future.
Right.
So, you'd hate to pay say $10 a camera monthly today, and a couple years from now it's
I can find out. I don't
$150.
know that it changes. Is there a price point on years of service? I don't know that often. I could find that out. It was never mentioned, and there is no, from talking to their rep, and there is no a minimum amount of time that you have to have them up.
Okay, another thing, is there any possibility, and I don't know what we can and can't do, because I'm not on public safety and I'm not in your police department.
Sure.
On the C's funds that we have, like for the drugs and whatever else we come up with, could possibly that be a funding source? Is that available?
Yeah, the way that I had presented, my goal is I want to find grants, and I don't want to earmark too much of that funds, because we have many unfunded mandates that are coming in that are going to be needing other things here. This would be something that ideally I would like to do with a grant or some sort of assistance fund with that. But
that would also lead me to the next question, because this is kind of stuff that goes through the finance committee.
Sure.
And other committees here.
Yeah.
When you put together your budget for each year, maybe you start to allocate some funds so that you could prorate it, so to speak. Like this year we're going to bite off this much, try it by a couple of cameras, like you said. Maybe next year you do a couple more, and every year you just keep adding. It's like buying new squad cars, I guess. Something like that.
Yeah, that's a little bit above my level here, but you're exactly right. I think whenever these grants come available, one of the first steps, and like this one as well, is you have to have approval by the city before you can do anything. And this is kind of what I wanted to do, is even though this window is closed for this particular one, is to gauge everyone's interest. That way, if in essence, this situation repeated where it was a first come, first served grant, and I wanted to kind of jump at it. I wanted to make sure that, it was with everyone's blessing, or if that would be okay, So
are you looking for this group to give you a direction on how to proceed, or just is this an FYI just so that we know what's going on?
I don't know how to properly answer that. If it doesn't seem like there's huge or a lot of concerns, these are great questions. At worst, if there's no resounding no's, if one did present itself, I would maybe make the application. At worst, then when it came down to, the details, then at worst we can kind of pull back from that. But that was just kind of to give you guys an idea of what it was, and if you had concerns or anyone in there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any pushback at all.
Well, I had a question.
Yeah.
It looks really good. And is there any downside to this? I mean, as I'm listening to the presentation, everything looks great. I mean, it's going to help us solve cases. It's, I see all kinds of upsides. Is there any reason a municipality would say no to this? And has any municipality said no? And for what reason?
Money.
Just money. That's, this was
Okay.
presented. It has a cost. It has obviously that,
So that's the only downside is cost? that you
I
can
think it's a
of?
great product.
Yeah,
You know,
well,
I've
that's-
been using it now, and
I-
this is.
I thought so too, from your presentation. I thought, well, wow,
And
this
if you
sounds
think
great.
this application is with using other departments' cameras, if we had our own, any crime that we've had in town is predominantly coming from someone outside of town. And if we always have a time window that we know it's coming in or leaving, and we always have some sort of description, how great would it be to be able to just, you know, I can't tell you how many times I've said, oh, I wish, if I just had a plate reader coming south on Harlem over the bridge, it would have, you know, this would be constant, we would be using it. You know, there's just those concerns, you know, people's concerns are gonna be that there's cameras out there capturing plates. Hopefully I've answered a bit of that it's encrypted.
But individuals can opt out of it.
They can opt out.
You know,
If
so-
people have concerns like, hey,
Yeah, if
I
they
don't
have
like the
privacy
idea of that,
concerns.
about the privacy concerns, they can, you know, they can be informed, or we can steer them to that direction of, hey, no problem, this is.
It'll be
something
great to
do.
know that somebody turned around
Yeah.
and came into town at 6:05 in the evening
Oh, I
and
bet.
stayed until 6:37, and all of a sudden, this is the same car that was used in some kind of a crime.
Well, as I'm listening, I mean,
Yeah.
it sounded so great. It's like, well, what would the downside be outside of cost, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like something we want
I
to do.
think, being in the society we live in today, that things like this are just gonna improve the community's safety all along the board. Speaking from a personal aspect, my family's been a victim of sexual predators towards my daughters. My mother-in-law has been involved by a sexual break-in years ago. The one is still roaming the streets, even though they got the car and everything, because I was an eyewitness to it, the car. We still didn't get the plate, but something like this may have gotten this person off there. So as far as I'm concerned, keeping the kids of this neighborhood or kids anywhere safe, I'm all for it. And if you're looking, I don't know if it'd be appropriate to give him authority to be within
Well,
the
I think he's
perimeters
gonna have
of
to
the
have a
grant.
specific program he's looking
Sure.
toward, but I
Right,
think just
right.
the general consensus that we're on board with it, and
To
then come
pursue
back
the grant if it
Understood.
becomes
when grant
available.
funds become available, come back to us, and then we can, you know, go ahead and get the.
Just an aside, I think many of us might recall, and since there's some of your associates are in the audience, I think this was the way it happened, but there was a lady that lived in Palos, maybe it was the park, a few years ago, down by Midway Airport. She had a jewelry store, and I recall somebody reporting back to us about this, or else it was in the paper, that when she left her jewelry store over down by the airport, somehow or another, all the police groups, you guys collectively, were able to trace the car going like up Southwest, or, you know, State Road or Southwest Highway, some way. It got back all the way, and you were able to get the license plates, get her, you know, all the way, these guys followed her all the way to her driveway, if I recall. And then, you know, she got out of the car with the jewelry or the day's receipts, and they grabbed it and took off. But somehow or another, I think, all these cameras that you had for red lights were able to actually piece together that case and arrest these guys, which, this is kind of the same thing.
Well, the other thing you can do with what he's putting together, and I've had to do it myself, okay? You find a unique car, okay, say a brand-new car. You take the information he gave you without the license plate, get in touch with, you call Detroit and you turn around and find out how many cars like that are here in certain zip codes. They'll give you right to the zip code, how many cars.
Right.
And you limit yourself down to about 5 or 6 different cars.
Right.
And they give you the address of the owners. Then they also send you out, it's a printed sheet, it sends you out the VIN, so all you gotta do is run the VIN number. And I've had to do it twice. And it's solid evidence. It's very solid.
The only thing I would suggest is just if you buy a golf course, do me a favor, and until I retire, would you just keep the cameras blacked out?
Yes, we will. All right, thank you.
Great, thanks, John, thanks for your time, appreciate it.
Well, I'd like to thank the chief and the sergeant for that presentation. There's always 2 or 3 sides to every story, so I suppose if anyone else has any further questions or inquiries, they can direct them back to the chief or the sergeant and can cover those things. At this time, I would like to make a motion to, and as I lost the computer, to make approval for direction in the process of application for the,
I think we're just going to hold off and.
we're going to hold off?
Yeah, until he gets a grant, actual grant ready to go.
Well,
So-
if we wait another month, is that too big a window to wait for an opportunity to come along and miss again?
No, I should be in good shape with where we're
Okay.
at right now.
All right. Well, that's the end of my report, Mayor.
All right, thank you, sir.
I'll continue on with the scam information at our next meeting.
Thank you,
Thank you.
both things. Municipal grounds property.
Thanks, Mayor. We have quite a few items tonight, actually. I'll try to get through them relatively quickly. I just wanted to quickly say that the beautification community did an amazing job on the decorations they put out there with the mums. So I just wanted to compliment them and also comment that chipper service is ending October 25th. The first matter we have is a motion to approve replacement of the roof on the Southwest Central Dispatch Building through the OMNIA Partners and Master Intergovernmental Cooperative Purchase Agreement, NICFA number PW1925 with Garland /DBS Incorporated in the amount of $77,434.
Moved by Alderman Begley, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Clifford, discussion, roll call.
Alderman Lewandowski.
Aye.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Alderman McGovern.
Aye.
Alderman Begley.
Yes.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman Basso.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next matter is a motion to approve The next matter is a motion to approve the installation of double doors and windows at Lake Catherine Nature Center Auditorium in the amount of $8,900 with Door Authority and $4,600 with Bella Vita, totaling $13,500.
Moved by Alderman Begley, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman
Question.
Lewandowski, discussion,
There's two outfits. Is one doing doors and one doing windows? Or does it,
One is doing, Door Authority's doing the doors and Bella Vita's doing the windows.
so the doors are 8,900 and the windows are 46?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
roll call.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Alderman McGovern.
Yes.
Alderman Basso.
Aye.
Alderman Lewandowski.
Aye.
Alderman Begley.
Yes. Next, we have a motion to approve payment for 2 Ford F-350 trucks, which were delivered on August 24th, 2021, in the amount of $91,742 to Roche Ford. This was previously a approved expenditure, but this is just the motion to approve payment.
Moved by Alderman Begley, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Violet, discussion, roll call.
Alderman Lewandowski.
Aye.
Alderman Begley.
Aye.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman Basso.
Aye.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Alderman McGovern.
Yes.
Next, we have a motion to adopt an ordinance declaring certain public works vehicles as surplus and approved to sell on iBid. There's 4 different vehicles. There's a 1996 Ford F-250 with VIN number 1FTHF25HXTEA 80474. There's a 2000 Chevrolet Tahoe, a 2003 International dump truck, and another 2003 International dump truck. And those VIN numbers are all contained within our exhibits.
Okay. Moved by Alderman Begley, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Clifford, discussion, roll call.
Alderman Basso.
Aye.
Alderman Lewandowski.
Aye.
Alderman McGrogan.
Aye.
Alderman Begley.
Aye.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman McGovern.
Aye.
Next, we have a motion to approve holiday decorations at Community Park with the outfit by the name of Artistic Holiday Designs for a 3-year lease totaling $41,757.85. This was an idea that was brought to us by the Public Arts Commission. We've gone back and forth on a few different committee meetings. These are items that, just so everyone is aware, we will, after 3 years, we will own the materials that are out on display. So it is a bit of an expenditure, but it will be with city property.
Moved by Alderman Begley, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Lewandowski. Just for example, I've also reached out to the various utility companies and then one major insurance provider here in town to help underwrite some of this cost. In the past, the insurance company had said they had some interest in being a major sponsor in the town, and then utility companies from time to time do pick up things like that. So I'm waiting for responses back. So.
And I'll just note for the record that part of the budget from the Public Arts Commission will also go to cover this.
Is this something that you would maybe get multiple, at least a couple other bids just to keep them honest?
They did get a few other bids, and the Public Works Director worked with the Public Arts Commission, and but it wasn't the same, essentially the same caliber of display, so to speak. But there has been quite a bit of research that's gone into this. I commend these guys for doing it. Just make sure we have enough electricity out there and everything like that. So just as a point of reference, like the decorations for Christmas out on City Hall, just to install those every year, or outside on Harlem, it's about $8,900 a year, and we already own that. So Christmas decorations are a fairly expensive undertaking.
Okay. Roll call.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman McGovern.
Aye.
Alderman Lewandowski.
Aye.
Alderman Basso.
Aye.
Alderman Begley.
Aye.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
And then the last item is a motion to approve the improvement of the bike path crossing at City Hall near the pool parking driveway to the current American Association of State Highway and Transportation recommendation.
Moved by Alderman Begley. Second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Basso. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I have nothing further, Mayor.
All right. Thank you, Alderman Begley. Planning and zoning, Alderman McGovern.
No report this evening, Mayor.
Alderman Key is not available tonight. He said he had no report. Roads and construction, Alderman Clifford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One, paving has started along 123rd from 76th Avenue east to Harlem Avenue. Side of road site work continues. It's on schedule. The work to be done beginning of November. There's a few issues to be resolved, and we have a satisfactory salt supply for the upcoming winter season. That's the end of my report.
All right. Thank you, sir. License, permits, and franchises, Alderman Lewandowski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no report this evening.
All right. Thank you, sir. Alderman Violet, water and sewer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve a Misty Meadow sanitary sewer service easement for a city-owned lot east of 8144 Misty Meadows Drive.
Moved by Alderman Violet. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Begley. Discussion.
This is a sliver that is needed for the home that was built behind the lot that we're turning into a park.
Gotcha. Roll call.
Alderman McGovern.
Yes.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman Begley.
Yes.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Alderman Lewandowski.
Aye.
Alderman Basso.
Aye.
I also move to approve an agreement and payment to Strand and Associates in the amount of $20,000 for on-call engineering services.
Moved by
Second.
Alderman Violet. Second by Alderman Clifford. Discussion. Roll call.
Alderman Lewandowski.
Aye.
Alderman Basso.
Aye.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman McGrogan.
Aye.
Alderman McGovern.
Aye.
Alderman Begley.
Yes.
Alderman Violet.
Yes. And finally, I move to approve payment to RJN Group in the amount of $12,092.50 for construction management and engineering reporting for the 2021 sewer cleaning and televising program.
Moved by Alderman
Second.
Violet. Second by Alderman Clifford. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman McGrogan.
Aye.
Alderman McGovern.
Aye.
Alderman Lewandowski.
Aye.
Alderman Basso.
Aye.
Alderman Begley.
Yes.
Alderman Violet.
Yes. And that's the end of my report,
Thank you,
Mr. Mayor.
Business and Economic Development, as I said earlier, Alderman Key is not available. Cable TV, Alderman McGovern.
The only thing I have, Mr. Mayor, is if we have anybody that be willing to volunteer to turn around and work with our cable TV personnel, just get into contact with Ron Jankowski over here at City Hall, and he'll put up, see what he can do and put you to work.
All right. Any old
That's it.
business? I forgot to mention earlier, just getting your vaccines if you haven't. I got Medal and I got our booster last week, so they're very easily get if you need to get them. Walgreens has them readily available. So, citizens wishing to address council? If not, entertain a motion. Oh, sorry. Alderman Gazan?
Sorry,
Yeah, sure.
back. I want to thank the gentleman who spoke about the very high speeds that are on Route 83. I think the idea of a school safety zone at Oak Park and Route 83 is a good start. Honestly, as a bike rider, I can tell you trying to get across Route 83 to get to the bike path, either at Oak Park or at Ridgeland, is incredibly difficult and dangerous. If at all possible, when you're speaking with the District 1 people, if there's any way that we could get a stoplight, not just a school safety zone, but a stoplight at Oak Park and Route 83. I mean, you have a college, you have a grade school, you have a high school, and you have a bike path, all at the same place. When you're right, it's marked as 45, but clearly the cars are going 50, 55. It's really dangerous. And I know when Route 83 was repaved, that they put in a turn lane, and that did help, but it doesn't help for anyone who's trying to get across the street, not in a car. So a school safety zone, how would it be enforced? I know on 151st Street by, I think it's Gerling Junior High, I mean, people slam on the brakes when those lights are flashing that it's a school safety zone, but that's only at the time when kids are leaving the school or going to the school. It's an issue getting across that street 24/7. Okay. So anything that you could do to make it safer to get across that street would be deeply appreciated and is sorely needed. So thank you.
Thank you.
You know, years ago, I went to, just to relate on that, I went to a Paths and Bridges seminar when the bike path was going in. And there was a gentleman there, got talking with him. And if you're familiar over by the wetlands on Indianapolis Boulevard, by the oil refineries over there, Indianapolis Boulevard is probably 3 times as busy as this street here. And there was a proposal of people asked for a walkway or bike bridgeway over. Well, they did it. They put it up because they was able to with the engineer and everything. He said the problem was that after all the thing, and I'm not lambasting it, is that he said after we put it up, nobody used it for some reason. So when I asked him what would be the feasibility then, whether they use it or not, of installing it here, and I went there with this guy and we looked over it, he said that the engineering on this would be not too good or almost impossible to do that because of the criteria of the rampway, the length of the rampway, where it would have to be, the height of it coming over down the medium, it would go across the cutoff to into the school there. So he did look into that, and then we did ask about the lights, so they did put the flashing lights. We did get some new signage up over on that corner.
Right, there is signage.
And, you know, right way, wrong way, and, you know, we can't put too many signs because people get a little bit confused on that. But we did put up some new signage. There's talk about installing a light, not a light, stop light, because IDOT has a criteria for certain lengths or footages between stoplights on certain roads and what they are. I'm not sure what they are as that goes, and they're quite costly. But we did install the other lights, and they are looking into, along with the Navajo entrance there, of coming up with some kind of a solution. We did get an agreement with the high school to park the bikes over there on the off days of the school, where you could park your cars there and cross the street over there.
Right.
Because the cars were parking along 83, and it was just as dangerous to do that. So they approached the high school, and they were benevolent enough to let the people park on the off days over there to park the cars and then bring the bikes across 83 rather than parking along 83 pretty much illegally, and that's dangerous at its best, so they are working on it, but. there
Right,
are
I
cer-
mean, there is quite a distance between Harlem and Ridgeland, where it doesn't seem as if, and I'm not cognizant of state of Illinois rules, that a light in the middle there would not be too great of a distance, that we could not have a stoplight at Oak Park, given the fact that there's 3 schools and a bike path right there. There's a lot going on there that it's not a long I mean, it's not too great of a distance between Ridgeland and Harlem, if I'm making myself clear, to have an additional stoplight there.
Well, what I'm trying to say is, I don't know what IDOT's criteria is,
Right,
being that a dedicated truck route on there, so there's different rules and I'll find out for you though. We'll
that
try
would be
to find
great.
out,
That
you
would be
know.
great, because as long as we're contacting them about a school safety zone, this would be.
Well, that was brought up to me tonight by a lady that called me. I was on the phone.
Right,
No, not him.
No.
Another lady that,
right,
unrelated to what this gentleman was saying, is that, and I said, well, the possibility, because of this accident that happened down there, who she was there with, her son or daughter or child goes to the
Right.
school, the kid crossed over and bang, got hit and
sure,
spun over in there.
sure,
But-
it's dangerous.
and I explained to her that years ago, when Frank Passarelli was Alderman of the Second Ward, which you may know, and through the courtesy of Senator O'Malley, they fought tooth and nail to get that turning lane in there for that use, to go down to that turning lane to turn into the school, not cut across the middle of the highway. But they very rarely use it that way. They want to shortcut it in there, and hence the accident. And that took a lot of doing, and a state senator who was a pretty prominent one at the time, to get that put in there. But it wouldn't be beyond to ask what the criteria is and find out for
Exactly,
you.
that would be great. Thank you so much.
All right, entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Oh, yes, yes, sir.